This topic keeps coming up because we as parents keep yelling at our kids. When that happens, how do you rebuild trust with a child you've yelled at in the past? We've been running some positive parenting coaching groups, and this has been so much fun for me over the past several weeks as I get to work with you personally, individually in these groups. I'm getting more stories all the time.
Right, yes.
And it's the same story with different faces. We as parents get frustrated. We yell at our kids and then we feel bad.
The guilt
for having yelled. I had Jonathan in a group recently who's a young single dad, just feeling badly that he had lost his temper with his little 3-year-old daughter. And she's so sweet, right? But then she's also 3.
Right.
So she's going to do typical 3-year-old things. We have a 3-year-old grandson. And he's sometimes doing very typical 3-year-old things, which for us as parents can be kind of frustrating. Anyways, Jonathan was expressing this on the group the other day. He just felt so badly, and he felt like he was a bad parent for having done it.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Jonathan, if you're listening, I want you to know you are a good parent. You are a benevolent, loving, kind father. And you're human. So it's going to happen occasionally. Thankfully, many of the people in our group are also reporting, hey, I'm not yelling as much now. Because once we connect with principles, we're able to stay in a higher level of control over our own emotional life. And so that's encouraging, but maybe that's where we start, Vicki, is with...
What are the principles? Let's talk a little bit about those principles to help us.
Well, and remember that you're human. So give yourself a little bit of tolerance and forgiveness as we move forward with it. Now, the principles behind this, how about, I'm not sure how to best word this, humility comes to mind. If you are humble, what do you do after you've hurt someone?
A sincere apology.
Right. Okay, so we can do that as parents?
Yes. Matter of fact, I love this because we need to teach our children how to engage in sincere apologies. And sometimes we need to talk it through. Okay, I was reading once in a book fairly recently about if there is somebody hurts somebody out at the recess or something like that. Rather than saying you need to go apologize to them, we're going to give them a chance to kind of think through their feelings and say, how do you think that your actions affected that person? What do you think needs to happen now? And so you kind of help them come up with that idea that I need to apologize. You as a parent can do the same thing. You know, when I snapped at you, I imagine it really kind of hurt your feelings, might have made you feel anxious or scared or whatever, kind of talk through it.
So you're modeling empathy.
Yeah, you're modeling empathy and you're saying, in order to make this right, I'd really like to apologize and tell you that I don't like it when I do that and I'm sorry that I did. And so you're modeling how to apologize and you're apologizing.
Right, and please don't spoil it with one of the 2 most common spoilers of an apology.
But you deserve it.
You shouldn't have done this or that. Okay, or being insincere. That's the other spoiler. Yeah. I'm sorry. Gosh.
Yeah, how many of us have had children that apologize that way? And I think that's one of the reasons, instead of telling a child to apologize, you actually help them see what would have to happen next to help them, your friend or your peer or sibling feel differently, change the way. And you're going to do the same thing. So if you can go through that with yourself, what do I need? I feel really crummy about this. I can tell my child is sad. What needs to happen? Walk yourself through it and then walk them through it. Go ahead and be sincere and avoid any exceptions to the apology. Let the apology just be there. There's going to be a chance to reteach this principle that was broken probably that caused you to be upset. We'll come to that.
Now, Megan, when you asked the question, this came from one of our viewers, okay? How do I rebuild trust with a child after I've yelled at? Here's the thing. Your child will not trust you if you're not being authentic and genuine. No kid expects their parents to be perfect. I mean, sometimes they do, but we lose that pretty quickly. When we find out our parents are actually human, they are not going to trust that you're always right. They will trust you to make mistakes and then make an appropriate apology. So what we're talking about here actually builds trust because you're showing them a real person, a human being who has weaknesses. Right. Own it. We've covered this in some other videos too, Vicki, but I think it bears some repeating here. Would you just give us a quick overview of the do-over concept?
My favorite parenting
Love
tactic. It. So the do-over is exactly what it sounds like. An experience came up, like I yelled at my kid and I think, I hate the way I feel. I don't like his reaction. That wasn't good. I want a do-over. And it's okay to go up to your child and say, I would like a do-over. When you came and said this, here's how I wish I would have responded. Now you're doing two things in that. You're showing your child that you're human and that you want to improve, and you're showing them how to be humble and to change the trajectory. I mean, how many of us get on the wrong road? If you just decide, well, I got on the wrong road, I'm just going to stick with it.
Oh, well.
We're on the wrong road. Let's show them how you change trajectory, because in our life, we're going to have to do that a lot. But it also gives you a chance to practice a different response. A lot of the times our response is just kind of immediate. You don't even really think about it. It's like you just go straight to irritated. And so you think, I'm going to do that better next time. But if you've never practiced doing it better, you're probably going to respond the exact same way next time.
Right.
So a do-over actually gives you a chance to change some muscle memory and practice. When you said this, here is how I wish I would have responded. And now you're practicing it, so you're more likely the next time that situation comes up to respond in the more intentional way rather than the reactive way.
Love it. And that concept of practice, you're doing it with the person who needs not only to have a different experience with you, but that you need to practice a different response for. We can have these conversations in our coaching groups or in our private coaching sessions, and you can say, I wish I would have said this, and you can practice it with me. That's not the same as practicing it with your kiddo. So that do-over is a powerful strategy. I love it. Right along with the do-over concept, Vicki, I think is a practice opportunity related to consequences and discipline. Because honestly, when we're yelling at our kids, we're usually frustrated. They're probably misbehaving. They're breaking some of the rules or expectations that we've set as parents. Well, as we've discussed in other videos, one of the things we have to do is get better at consequences. When you are good at stage 1 consequences, then stage 1 behavior won't tip you over.
Right.
Now, if you're wondering what I mean by stage 1, get into the Parenting Power-Up course where we talk about that in detail. And there's also a video here called Teaching Kids Responsibility. You can go see that video here on our channel. That's where we get into the details. But basically, our frustrations come when we don't know how to handle this child's behavior right now.
Right.
So get better at the consequences with a calm voice, calm face, and calm body. You are in control as a parent. And that takes some practice.
And you're going to practice that. I have a real vivid memory of one time being upset with one of my kids. We were in the car. He was in his car seat. And I remember I'm driving down the road and I'm realizing that my eyebrows are just like this. And I'm thinking, I'm going to hang on to it just a little longer because I'm still mad. and then I finally was like, okay, I'm going to relax my eyebrows. And I was ready to turn around and have a different interaction with my son, and he'd fallen asleep. And I just remember that I kind of missed that window. And so I had to try to find a different one. But just get that calm face. Become aware of what face you're projecting to the child, what voice you are projecting to the child. Just be very aware of that. And maybe be a little more humble than me about changing it faster.
That's so funny. I can remember times when I'm thinking, I'm just going to be mad a little longer. Right? How long do you want to be upset? And do you realize that you have something to do with it?
Right.
This brings us back to where we maybe should have started. What is your job as a parent?
Just focus on loving them.
Love them no matter what and even if. Kids don't keep. Really, I mean, your kids turn into your teenagers, and your teenagers turn into adults. And where did your kids go? Yeah. All our kids are gone.
Yeah.
All of them. Gone. And we have young adults that we really love. And some of them live in their own homes
Right.
now.
But you're focusing on the love. That doesn't mean you're not still showing up as a parent, but you're
Right,
focusing
right,
on the
right.
love, and let that love drive your actions rather than the anger or fear or frustration.
There will be a time in the future when you will wish that you could have these years back, at least for a moment. And I've talked to parents sometimes in tragic situations where their child has died or they've lost them, and they wish that they could have that misbehavior again to deal with, because they would prefer that to not having their child. And that's a perspective thing, and I don't want to end this on a downer note, but that's an important perspective. Children don't keep. Pay attention to the relationship. Your job is to love them no matter what, and even if, we'll help you with the other stuff. Hey, I mentioned during that video that we do these group parent coaching
Yeah,
sessions. That has been so cool, hasn't it?
it's been fun.
We've seen some real breakthroughs, and the place you can start with that, because we would love to engage you in that process. Start with a breakthrough call. You can do that in the link down below. Just check out drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. There's a link down there. That's where you start. It'll take you right to our scheduling page, and we'll get you live in person with one of our coaches. We look forward to seeing you on the inside.
Color unknown, and then I tell how to look into my eyes and never let it go.